2 brand new videos to react to on Gripped Media's news network YouTube channel. Today, I cannot believe I'm even saying this, guys, but we have a question from Ben Scallon, much love to him, asking, of course, Helen McEntee, about the hate speech bill after the general election. Of course, we all know that, a few days ago, that she basically canceled this hate speech law on the hate speech bill, okay, that's coming out for this budget 2025 or this government type of thing, right? But they're seeming to want to keep pushing it in the later flipping years, guys, with a new type of government. So it's a whole shit show. Gripped Media actually did a full podcast on it with John, the main editor for the newspaper, the CEO of Gripped Media, and another lady, good looking lady. I don't know her name, but they did a podcast for an hour on Gripped Media, and I actually watched the whole video, guys. It was an amazing podcast, but I didn't know too much about it, guys. And then I couldn't believe, that literally a few days later, another U-turn, because I also did a video on it saying how the bill got defeated. Congratulations, much love to all my Irish people that, slapped down the bill. But now it comes out, guys, that they're trying to push it again. So it's unbelievable, guys. This is just a complete joke of a government. This one should be insane. Make sure to comment down below. We're about to hit 100,000 subscribers this week. We'll hit 100,000 subscribers. So I appreciate the love and support on the political videos. I've done a lot of political videos. So let's get straight to it.
Minister, I might just ask very quickly on the hate speech element of the hate bill that's going through the Oireachtas at the minute. Taoiseach Micheál Martin indicated that the hate speech element could still come back in a future government, that it might not be in this term, but that in a subsequent term it's something that is still on the table. Are you of the same view?
Firstly, I'm absolutely determined that we would move on the hate crime element of this legislation.
This is nonsense as well, this hate crime bill. This is nonsense as well.
A country in Europe that does not have hate crime legislation, and we can see very clearly from the statistics from An Garda Síochána that hate crime is on the increase.
So that's just basically hearsay. We don't know if any hate crime is on the increase or not, guys. Also, saying we're the only country in the European Union that doesn't have hate crime bills isn't a bad thing, guys. That's not a bad thing, okay? If you're the only guy that doesn't smoke weed or doesn't do drugs in your friend group, that's not a bad thing, okay? So if you don't do something and it's a negative thing for your country, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing, okay? That's also a fallacy, a philosophical fallacy, which the government make on a daily basis, guys, okay? They make mistakes on a daily basis.
I accept that there has not been a consensus on how we move forward the incitement to hatred piece, the speech element of it, but I do believe that we need to move forward on this. I don't believe it's for this government now, but I think at the next government we need to find a way to find that consensus. We only have to look at some of the footage from recent TV programmes or indeed some of the footage across our social media to know that there is incitement taking place, but we need to have a consensus.
She's talking about that recent documentary on RT, which nobody's watched because nobody's watched RT in years. But she's talking about that documentary. RT investigates the riots and the sort of protests. Okay, well, that's kind of on them, guys. Like, have a mass sort of election or sort of a mass, vote so that people can cast their opinion. Okay, if people are, rioting and going crazy and, burning down things, well, let's have a vote, guys. If I was in charge and my people were so unhappy, I'd have a vote. I'd cast a vote. See who's unhappy, and then we go on the vote, guys. I wouldn't just get told by Big Daddy EU, hey, do this, and then it has to be done, guys. I'd cast a vote. Let everybody vote for it,
Interim, our incitement laws from 89 are there. Gardaí have access to them, but I believe they need to be upgraded, and I believe it's something that the next Dáil can do.
How would you square that with the Taoiseach's comments a couple of months ago that he issued a warning to people who were engaging in incitement to hatred, incitement to violence, calling for violent acts to be conducted in the context of the London riots, and he said that even here in Ireland that's against the law and you can't engage in that kind of behaviour.
If you decide to, hide behind a keyboard or hide behind an anonymous account and threaten physical violence against anybody in this country, that is illegal. That is taken as seriously as a threat that is made in person, and you will face the full rigours of the law.
Ironically, he's saying that, guys. A man with the posture of a shrimp, okay, the posture of a prawn that comes out the water, okay, you know, he also has the neck. You know, if your neck circumference isn't over 16 inches, you're not allowed to run for governor. In my in my government, I would say anyone with a posture of a prawn, talking about how people, ironically, he's talking about people making insults over a keyboard, where ironically, guys, he is the classic kind of guy, pencil neck kind of guy, that would make, you know, comments like these over the internet, okay? Normally a big buff guy, jacked guy, you know, kind of a bigger guy, would never make insults like that over the internet. I personally never have, okay? I just like to poke fun at people because, you know, that's just the nature of politics right now. It's a complete dog-eat-dog world. But it's ironic that he's talking about that, guys, you know, being a, you know, dork, you know, a Poindexter. We gotta bring that word back. We gotta bring that word, Poindexter, flipping nerd. You know, he's talking about people are hiding behind a keyboard. Who's hiding behind keyboards? I'm not hiding behind a keyboard. I'm literally presenting myself to the whole of Ireland.
So if you break the law, if you decide to threaten somebody, if you decide to incite violence, if you decide to incite hatred, if you decide to intimidate somebody, if you decide to, you know, engage in activity that's causing social unrest, you're not going to be treated differently or specially because you happen to do it in a cowardly manner behind an anonymous account. You're going to meet the full rigours of the law.
Doesn't that kind of...
It's kind of ironic he's talking about cowards, guys. Has he ever been in a physical altercation in his life? Anyways, won't talk about that. Case in point, guys, that he is saying that, okay? He's saying that if you are saying stuff over the internet, you'll be punished. That's fine. I mean, whatever, guys. You know, it's against the law to threaten someone, say I'm going to kill someone, or whatever, guys. It's against the law already to riot and do all these things. Do we really need more laws, like, on top of the already laws? Like, it's just, it seems like overkill. Just make the sentences harsher for people that do harsh things like that. You know, people that do crazy stuff on the internet or crazy, you know, enact riots and stuff. Just put harsher sentences for those people. You don't need more laws. It's just ridiculous.
Indicate that there's an obsolescence there, that we already have sufficient legislation in place currently.
Absolutely.
I think I've been clear in saying I don't believe our legislation is sufficient. It's there. The Gardaí can use it, but I believe it needs to be updated. It was established in '89. We have technology and ways in which people communicate that didn't exist back then, so it absolutely needs to be updated.
But I'm sorry, but the Taoiseach specifically said just because you do this behind a keyboard in a cowardly way, just because you're doing it online, doesn't mean it's not against the law. You know, you will be brought to justice and so on. This is, I mean, he was specifically talking about in the online context before the '89 bill, while that's still in place. So I don't know, is there something I'm missing here? Or?
No, I think it needs to be updated, and that still stands, but there are laws there to be able to deal with this at the moment, but I believe they need to be updated. The Gardaí themselves have said that they need to be updated. That doesn't mean that they can't prosecute anybody for incitement at the moment. They can. That doesn't mean that we don't have incitement laws, but they need to be updated. What we don't have is hate crime legislation. There are people being physically attacked or properties being damaged.
See, she doesn't understand the question. It's not a philosophical question, okay? It's just a plain, straight up question like, hey, she said there, people getting physically attacked. Okay, if people get physically attacked, guys, that's still against the law. You're not allowed to punch somebody in the street. Like, you literally go to jail for that. So he's saying, do we need extra laws on top of that? And she's just kind of going off on some weird tangent. She really doesn't understand, like, how to debate, like, how to talk to people, like, interpersonal skills. It's really... This is a general theme for the Irish government.
Simply because of who people are, where they're from, the colour of their skin. That shouldn't be tolerated in any modern society, and that's why I feel we need to move on this, but also we need to at a later stage find a consensus forward when it comes to the incitement piece or the hate speech element of it.
I find it really disingenuous that she's talking about how people should be more heavily sanctioned for punching somebody, let's say theoretically punching a Chinese guy rather than punching a white guy. Like, it's just like, bro, it doesn't make any sense to me. Just make the sentences harder. Let's say, I'm just throwing numbers out here, you get 2 years for punching a random Chinese guy in the street, okay? Just make the sentences for everyone. If you punch a white guy, you punch a black guy, you punch a Chinese guy, you punch an Arabic guy, whatever it is, guys, just make the sentences, you get 4 years or you get 3 years, okay? Like, straight to jail. You know what I mean? It should just make the sentences harder. You shouldn't be making the laws specific to a race or an age or a gender. Like, it's just mind-boggling to me. Am I the only person in the whole country that feels like that? Like, it just feels like I'm the only person that thinks logically about that. It's like, dude, Just focus on the actual harsher sentences rather than, supposedly a guy, if you punch a white guy, you won't get as harsh sentence as if you punch, a Japanese guy. Alright guys, this is what they're saying, guys. This is literally what they're saying. I'm just saying what they're saying. Alright guys, next question. Next Gripped Media video, okay, will the Irish government defund activist NGOs, okay, non-government organizations, which incidentally work for the government, at the budget 2025? So of course guys, non-government organizations aren't good. They impinge on the government. They kind of manipulate, they kind of push propaganda on top of the government that make the government switch a certain way that they should be heading in. Okay, so it's not good to be having these massive NGOs, nowadays. So let's see what they have to say about it. Drop a comment down below.
Minister, on several occasions you've expressed concern that some campaigning NGOs have a disproportionate influence on government policy, and you've argued that some of these groups are clearly out of touch with public sentiment, such as during the recent referendums, and these groups are of course funded by various government departments and state agencies to the tune of more than €6 billion every year. So now of course
€6 billion a year, that's actually more, that's the exact same as OnlyFans makes worldwide. So they're actually pushing more NGOs than OnlyFans, which is probably a good thing, but that's unbelievable. That's an insane amount of money.
Many NGOs do good work, everybody accepts that, but putting those aside, my question is, now that the total budget has been allocated, will you be pushing at the cabinet table to cut funding to some of these unrepresentative activist groups, or doing anything tangible about those concerns you've expressed?
Well, thanks, Ben, and I appreciate the question. First of all, I think what we have done as a government is we've got back to nuts and bolts, really trying to improve the quality of life of people, trying to ensure that we have a strong economy that's rewarding enterprise, and to ensure that we have as many people as work. And I think government's business has really focused on that now, and that was a significant turn in the dial, which I think is very important and very welcome, and that's what we really need to focus on now. I think it's important that you have a sector that is challenged, because in relation to the boat referendum that you referred to, it is very clear that many of the sectors that were advocating were significantly out of kilter with what ordinary people and ordinary families were thinking at that particular point in time, and absolutely that needs to be looked at. And any NGO that receives money from the state also needs to be challenged. And I'm very firm in my belief in that. Are they represent the people that they espouse to represent? And we can see the landscape is littered with NGOs and representatives that unfortunately sometimes don't, and the people have...
because the referendum that I put up that video got 40,000 views about the women's referendum taking woman out of the Constitution. The woman's own, it was like their own sort of council, they voted yes on that bill. Like, take it out of the flipping Constitution. Like, how crazy is that? And it was an overwhelmingly no vote. So it was 87% no, but the Women's Council of Ireland, which is supposed to represent the women of Ireland, said yes. Like, what? Like, outrageous stuff, guys. They don't represent anybody, obviously. Shit, I represent the Women's Council more than they do.
Have voted on that and are very clear on it. I was a former Minister for European Affairs and know, going around Europe, that it is very essential too that you have a healthy sector, but that it is also challenged, and we as a society have a job, and so as government, to do that and to hold everyone account right across the economy. But I really welcome, when I get up in the morning, the first thing I am thinking about now is how can I improve the conditions businesses operate on, how can I support family businesses, and how can I improve the lives of people and put money by for the future of our country that will make it more competitive. And every single day I keep doing that.
Just on the same question, because obviously without naming...
That just sounds disingenuous as well.
any individual organisations, some of these groups have receive almost all of their funding from the state, and they campaign for various issues which may have more or less public support. As I say, would you be willing, or do you intend to go to the cabinet table and argue we need to start thinking about reassessing how much funding we give to various organisations of this kind, again putting aside the ones that do good work that we all acknowledge?
Yeah, well, you're very much aware I have raised it in the past, and I think it's very important that we continue to do that. As I said, we need a healthy sector. I'm in no way saying that funding should be pulled from all NGOs, but we need to forensically look at what people are doing that are getting government money. And
yeah, 100%. Like, why don't I get government money, guys? Like, this is ridiculous. posting videos promoting Ireland, okay, for the most part. I'm doing reactions, I'm talking about different things. Like, why don't I get government funding, okay? When my channel gets big enough, then I'll get government funding, you see? Or probably never. Or I'll get funding from somewhere. But the thing is, guys, nobody wants to see these guys be so massive as they are. NGOs are ridiculous. They're too big, guys. They're too much of a, suck on the state, let's say.
We all know the challenges we have in trying to ensure money is spent properly in this economy and ensure we're getting value for money, which is a very important focus. And that's
No, absolutely not, guys. They don't get value for money. They just spent $335,000 on a bike shed. Are you kidding me or what? Are you joking me?
Properly in this economy and ensure we're getting value for money, which is a very important focus. And that's one of the key areas of mine.
I'm very sorry to interrupt. No disrespect, Minister, but I guess what I'm asking is, are we going to see something tangible coming out of this, or am I going to ask you about this again in 6 months?
You may be asking me, God knows where we'll be in 6 months' time. You may be asking me again. You may not, you never know. But obviously it's important to keep raising. I don't have direct responsibility under my department in this area, but absolutely it's an area I'm happy to raise. And as I said, and I did say when interviewed after both referenda, that essentially many groups were significantly out of kilter, and that's my firm belief.
Oh, absolutely scandalous. Okay, guys, don't listen to any of those politicians. Don't vote Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Sinn Féin. Don't vote any of those people. Like, comment, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, go over and donate to Grip Media. Go subscribe to their YouTube channel. Of course, I love shouting them out, guys. They're legends. So, yeah, much love to them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Subscribe, guys. We're about to hit 100K this week, actually. So, pretty happy with that one. If you guys like my government critiques, okay, I have my own, of course, network, County Gains News Network. Okay, we're going to be critiquing the government every single day. I look forward to talking to you all again. Make sure to comment down below something that you guys want to see me talk about in the next video. And I'll see you all in the next one, guys. Peace.